Hey guys, what's up? How's your day going so far? Oh, I gotta mute this. Pender in the image. Is that 402 Pender in the image? Who is 402 Pender? No, that's an image I actually took, in Winnipeg here. I took an image, or I used to take pictures around the city and stuff, but Maxime Bernier is going to help Trudeau win the election by taking away votes from the Conservatives. Yeah, potentially, and if Andrew Scheer loses to Trudeau, even after all this stuff that has happened, then he deserves to lose, right? And he'll know exactly why he lost, right? He'll know precisely the reason why. It's because he wasn't an actual conservative. But hey, for Western civilization, how's it going, buddy? But yeah, there's also I was watching Freebird Media the other day, and apparently, while I was watching it, this woman by the name of Leigh Stewart, I think I've seen her around here and there before, but she said something about the PPC doxing her, and I watched this stream, and I don't know, I couldn't really find much evidence, I guess, of what she said. And then I read the article, of Maxime Bernier and the alt-right problem that they were referencing in the video. And, they didn't dox her in there either. So I don't really know what she's talking about. Maybe a journalist called her and went to her home or something, but I don't remember her saying that in a stream. Maybe I missed it, potentially, but yeah, I don't remember seeing that. So I don't know what they're talking about, a PPC doxing her or something, but maybe I'll link the stream. We all know Hitler did nothing wrong. I didn't say that, and I don't believe that. Don't boot me off YouTube. Hi, brother. Be careful what you write. Hi, brother. Still doing research on our magnosphere as a measure. Get my findings to you soon as I can. The magnetosphere. I don't know what that is exactly. But yeah, I don't know. I saw that the article that they were referencing in there was Maxime Bernier's alt-right problem. And, this is the good thing about these hit pieces that the media does all the time, because they just introduce me to a new podcast or something that I didn't know of before, or it's probably removed by now. The Ensing Hour, but I guess it's some a white nationalist podcast. But the media thinks that they're smearing people oftentimes by releasing these articles, but more often than not, it actually just helps them, because now people like me or whatnot hear about it, and then they go and they read these people, or they look them up, and then they follow them. Then there we go, another person that they know of. I'll get two of my dead relatives that died fighting the Nazis thought otherwise, but fighting wars we shouldn't have been fighting. I agree, we probably shouldn't have got into World War II. Just let them fight it out, essentially. Or World War I, we should have probably intervened either, because that was hugely out of line, and then they got the Treaty of Versailles after that, which then pretty much led them to the Second World War. This oppressive Treaty of Versailles that made them have to pay back, I don't know, Europe, the rest of Europe, until when it was for decades and decades. It was ridiculous. The mason jar, man. I always need that. Yeah, Winnipeg. It's just, there's a lot of snow here right now, pretty much. But that's Canada for you. It's raining some places, snowing in other places. It's climate change. It's global warming. But yeah, I was watching the Freebird Media yesterday, and I don't know if you guys ever heard of that, but I don't really agree with, honestly, a lot of what the guy says, because he was talking about, how we shouldn't defund the CBC, and how we need to just do correct propaganda or the right kind of propaganda. And you're like, yeah, good luck. You know, I know what he means. You know, I understand, like, yeah, not all propaganda is bad, right? Like, you know, but you know, a lot of these people have the idea that they can just take control of government and just make everything right if they get the right guy and do the right propaganda. Well, maybe they'll do that temporarily or something, but that's not going to last for very long. You know, he was saying like, oh, the free market's just as bad, and you'll have, you know, and people won't be getting vaccines or something like that. And you're like, what kind of fucking argument is this against having a free market media? You know, it's like, sure, a lot of people are going to still produce propaganda in a free market and stuff, but at least I don't have to pay for it. I'm not forced to pay for it. And a lot of these like media companies in America, they're looking over the border at Canada and they're seeing what Trudeau is doing, giving all this money. And they're like, well, we should get the same thing. You know, we should get help too from the government. And, you know, they're all calling for help too, because, you know, it's just not sustainable by itself. And, you know, we're wasting so much money funding the CBC. You know, how much are they paying their staff? How much overhead do they have? Does it really need to be that big? They could probably, you know, they're competing with people that have like web cameras in their fucking living rooms and shit like that, like small time people. Yet they're funded by billionaires, and you know they can't compete with like regular people on fucking YouTube. But you want the government to fund it? I don't know, but like. I just thought like there was literally no evidence whatsoever in the stream. I was like, what is this? Like, I thought there would be some concrete shit like, oh, see, this person doxed me. And I was like in the chat, I'm like, do you know what the term doxing means? You know, I didn't see anybody, I didn't see your address released or your phone number, your name. You go by your name as a journalist already. You're already out there. So I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I think the communists had to go. Nothing scarier than a new Somalian just got his trucking license flying down the 401. Yeah, that is pretty scary. We just need the right gobbles. What's up, you baby boomer hater? Oh, Ray, what's up, Gator? You know, I don't hate baby boomers, but I think they need to be accountable for and take ownership of things, and there you go. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I got a lot of hate for that video that I made about that, and a lot of people are just like, you young, you don't know anything. I made 87 cents an hour when I was your age, and I bought a house, and I lived in a big house because blah blah blah. And you're like, yeah, things, like I said, things cost a lot less in that fucking time. But it's the same thing when you criticize women. You know, when you criticize women, you're like, hey, you're kind of responsible for these men going crazy because you choose bad men. And they're like, no, I'm not responsible for anything. You are. Men did everything bad, blah blah blah. And you know, when you hold a couple older boomers accountable, they're like, you know, it's the millennials and their fault, yada yada yada. And you're like, okay, whatever, man. It's like you raised us, right? You're like, there was raise the people that created the generation. And it was like, I was gonna make a video about it, but I was like, fuck it. I was looking at the pensions and stuff and how much pensions cost in Canada. And it's an unfunded liability. They only have 20% of our pensions in there at once. That means, you know, it's an $888 million unfunded liability, the pensions right now. And they only have 20% of it. And Trudeau is, you know, raising the rates, right, for pensions. So we're all going to have to pay more. But, you know, they're going to get a little bit more or something like that. But yeah, but by the time that I'm older, or Generation X, or a lot of these other people, like there's not going to be pensions for them. All these immigrants that they're bringing in are not going to be working and paying into the pension. So then we're going to have that when we're fucking old and all this shit. You think these immigrants are going to fucking work for us? But no, a lot of these baby boomers, you know, they want to sell their house at a high fucking value, at a high price and shit. So they're going to let in a bunch of immigrants that are going to pay that, instead of like, you know, how it should be, how that what should really happen is there should be a baby boom, right? And then they have a lot less kids. Now there's a lot more houses on the market. So now the housing prices are a lot less because there's plenty to be had, instead of the way it is now by they keep importing fucking immigrants. And then we could actually buy houses at a much cheaper price. But like, you know, that's a whole other fucking video. But no, I don't hate all old people and shit like that. But it's just like it's funny when you kind of call them out on anything, they just lose their shit. Yeah, my grandfather fought in World War II, Colin, and he was in a POW camp for 3 years. His plane got shot down by the Nazis, and the Nazis pulled a gun on his face and was like, you know, the war is over for you, you know, essentially. And it was like, yeah, he lost like 30, 40 pounds. So I do know exactly how hard they fought. But do you think that maybe a lot of these people go and fight these wars for literally no fucking reason a lot of the times? And that maybe these people died and sacrificed themselves for no fucking reason? You know how bloody the Second World War was and the First World War was? You know how many people fucking died? You know how many millions and millions of people died? Yeah, I respect our fucking sacrifice. Of course I do. But does that mean I wanted all those people to die? Why was World War I started? Because Franz Ferdinand got shot in a fucking place, and then Germany was just backing one of their allies, and it was all this conflict between these nations that had literally nothing to do with us. Then in America came into World War II, what, 4 years down the road, into the, like, at the very end, you know, whereas you know, they could have had potentially better deals, you know, especially World War I, because it was so lopsided against the Germans' favor that we could have potentially avoided World War II if it wasn't for, you know, World War I in the way it was dealt with and handled and all that crap. So it's like, yeah, no, I'm not. Of course, I respect their you know, my grandfather, like I said, was in World War fucking II. But he was an 18-year-old dude, conscripted, didn't know anything. He said that he was a terrible soldier. He was like, he barely qualified or anything like that, but they just sent him along anyways. And then because he was like, you know, he's able to fit in the gunner at the very base of the plane, one of the only people that was able to fit. Like, the plane got shot down and all the people bailed, and luckily the pilot decided to save my grandfather's life. And luckily, because he did, I'm fucking here today. But he's like, no, I'm going to crash fucking land the plane. And that's the only fucking reason I'm here right now. But I could have potentially not been here because of World War II. You know what I mean? Like, it's that fucking close. That close, man. Good to see you really know history and not the propaganda. The Yellow Vests may get a supreme kicking soon. Remember, the victors write the history books. You know, we brought freedom to Earth. Man, you're just an idiot, man. You are an idiot. We brought freedom to Earth. Yeah, it wasn't just like one good guy and one bad guy, and the Germans were just completely evil, and the Allies did nothing wrong. You know, I'm not obviously, I don't like Hitler or anything he did, or National Socialism, or invading Poland, but like, you know, Russia was invading Poland and all that stuff at like the same exact time. Wisdom comes with the baby boomers should be respected and cherished. So next time you see the baby boomers, offer thanks. No, why would you be the baby boomers bitch? They were the most like privileged generation on the history of Earth. They should be kissing our feet. I don't know what you're talking about. Fuck the baby boomers, honestly. Fuck them to shit. Not all, but yeah, in general, no. They're just succubuses on the younger generation. And you know, they had the power to change things when it would have been a lot easier. You know, they were the ones. You know what? You know, it's funny. The pensions got introduced. Like I said, pensions are almost a $1 billion liability, unfunded liability. Okay, $1 billion. They only have 20% of it. It's a whole fucking Ponzi scheme, right? So all the old people right now, your money does not exist in there. So when cuts need to be made, right? When if we want to avoid a huge cataclysm and catastrophe, cuts need to be made, and the first cuts will be the pensions, right? The first cuts will be the pensions. And because it's already $1 billion unfunded liability. They got started in 1965 in Canada, right around the time immigration and Trudeau opened the doors to immigration. Isn't that like a fucking coincidence? Nobody fucking stopped it. They were not in a good position. Not just them, as obviously older people there. And I'm not saying that like they should have known, and there was no propaganda at the time, and they should have been more educated. But you know, you put these kids in government schools, you kind of went along with it. Now the millennials are all brainwashed because you didn't fucking homeschool them, because you put them in government schools, and now people are like, oh, why the fuck are you mad? Oh, it's the millennials and all this. You know, you should raise your fucking kids better and not like throwing them to the state. And relied on the state. But this is what happens when you rely on big government to do things, and it causes this tension between the older and younger generation that doesn't necessarily need to be there. It really doesn't. But people, you know, both groups should not get equal blame. This is the thing. Like, let's just say there's a crash, right? That means that the child who was just born, had nothing to do with anything, who's like a 20-year-old kid, barely even fucking voted ever in his life, is going to get just as much punishment as somebody who's like 80 years old, 70 years old, whatever. You know, I don't know, the other generation before the boomers and all that stuff, like, yeah, they fought and died in wars. I'm not like saying they're bad people, but I'm saying it's the generation kind of like right after that. But also they also do have to blame, because you know, even though you fought in a war and all that stuff, all these people were conscripted. So I'm not going to say that, like, you know, I can never criticize you because you fought in a war, no matter what. How dare you criticize me? You know, it's like, fuck that shit. No, I'm gonna say things that I believe or whatever. You know, if it's hurts people's feelings or not. Right. Triggered millennial, right? You know, but the only people that really get triggered are the boomers and stuff, right? They're the ones that get really mad because, like I said, the first cuts that are going to be made are going to be their pensions, because what is the excuse for immigration right now? It's to pay for pensions and healthcare. Who uses the majority of healthcare? It's old people in the later ends of their life, right? So, you know what I mean? So these are where the cuts are going to have to be made first, right? Because you voted for this. You voted for that. Nobody took it back, right? You all got comfortable. You're like, well, I like my free healthcare. Well, I like my pensions. Well, I like these things. So, you know, let's keep these things. But you know, like, at the end of the day, like, you know, the bill comes in and shit, and people got to pay the fucking tab. And it's not fair for like a 20-year-old or a younger person to pay the same tab as somebody that's been here for 60, 70, 80 years, right? Is that really fair? Like, if we're going to make cuts, let's just say we have to make cuts in the government. Who should we cut first? Where should the cuts go first? Should it go to the younger people that had nothing to do with the way the system is created, or the people that are older that have something more to do with the system? What's fair, right? What's fair in that situation? You know, if you're a fair person, you'll be like, hey, you know, I've been around, I have more of responsibility for how things have come out. And yeah, I'm not saying that you should have fucking stood up and like laid down in front of a fucking what do you call it, tractor trailer, or I mean a semi or something, right? But if cuts need to be made, then you should be like, hey, we should cut pensions first, and we should get a free healthcare system, because like I said, the majority of healthcare costs are old people, so they should be the first ones to give up their healthcare. You know, that's primarily what I think, because no, it's otherwise it's not fair to have people that were younger, that have nothing to do with why the system is the way it is, pay the same price as other people that had a chance potentially to change it, or to speak up, convince people to change things. Where's my wrench? You don't deserve a wrench, Anarchor. Fucking vegan. AJ, you're not around back in the 70s. No, yes, I was. I time travel all the time, man. What are you talking about? That's right, Diamond. A lot of good men were killed defending someone else, not us. I'm hitting my kid with a hammer on his head growing up. Hey, why is he dumb right now? Sums up a lot of boomers. I know, right? Like, that's kind of like the basic thing. It's like, why are these kids so crazy? It's like, don't you guys realize people? I never said I was gonna give you. I said I'd think about it. I never said I'd give you what do you call it? A fucking hammer. But Linda's right. Greed kills everything. It comes down to greed, right? Like, I'm not saying I'm not greedy. I'm not saying millennials right now aren't greedy and self-entitled and all these things. Yeah, millennials are fucking stupid as shit. Like, yeah, of course I agree. they're very entitled. They're egotistic. They're all those things. But I can at least admit that. But I can see why. I can be like, it's not like I made myself, you know, or these people, they didn't make themselves. They didn't raise themselves. They didn't like just, you know what, you know what I mean? It's like you wanted to get a job because you believed in feminism. So you went in, you got a job, you put your kids in daycare, in government schools, and had them indoctrinated in these fucking education systems. They come out hating you, lesbians, transsexuals, Black Lives Matter, all this shit, and people, oh, what happened? Well, you know, you bought into a lot of bullshit. You bought into a lot of lies, and now these lies are going to come biting us all in the ass unless we start to try to avert some things right now. Start to, you know, reduce the size of the government right now, so then it's not as much of a fall or a hit when it does happen. But like I said, the first cuts should be people's pensions and like a lot of different types of healthcare, and there's also a bunch of other like old age pensions and all these other things that like a lot of old people do get. So these should be the first cuts, right? And you should be for that. Boomers, immigrants, or vegans? I don't know. Vegans are getting pretty close up there. You said you think about it, then you said you would. Gave you the most views of the week. Oh, just barely. I don't know. That's of the week. Well, yeah, well, it's because I only made 2 videos that week. But yeah. All right, Anarchor. I'll give you a fucking wrench because you're a piece of shit. That's why. Add moderator there. There you go. You get a wrench. I thought you were a man of your word. I lived in England. Eek, the Russians saved them, not us. Right. Yeah, the Russians sacrificed how many millions of people? Like 10 million, or I don't know how many millions. Like that, a lot of their fucking soldiers died. But that's not to say that the sacrifice of our soldiers was any less. You know, it was just as much. But I just think that these guys died for no reason a lot of the time. But I'm not even on the topic of what the fuck we were initially talking about whatsoever. Like Maxime Bernier's alt-right problem. You can have my wrench. Why? Because why? You don't want your wrench? Good thought, AJ. I'm not the product of my parental controls. I'm the second poorest scientist ever. You're a second poorest scientist ever. Open up the top 3 floors of Vic Hospital while Canadian vets and pensioners were pushed back to service these fuckers. Yeah. You know, and that's horrible too. You know, the vets. That's bullshit. What's happening to the veterans right now? Definitely. And I obviously, if I'm gonna have socialism, right? Obviously, I want it to go to the veterans and old people above immigrants, right? Of course, right? But I'm just saying, in general, I'm not gonna be like, yeah, okay, fine. The immigrants lose it first, right? I agree. Then the fucking pensioners and shit, right? So it's like once you get these people out or whatever, but like, you know, that's the thing. But a lot of people are going to be just resistant for anything. Once you give something to somebody, they don't want it taken away. And you know what? It's like all these people were stupid enough to rely on the government and to think that, you know, they could trust the government and that they could, yes, they stole our money and put it in pensions for us. Like they do that for us, for me too. But people, they should put into another pension as well on top of that. Because what are they going to get? $500, $600 a fucking month? Like you can't live off that. If you were depending on that, you're fucked. BM a wrench. Well, you know, as long as you don't abuse it, Anarcore, then you know, whatever. I don't really care. We're so fucked. Rogan just had a podcast saying every job will be automated in 20 years. Every job, including doctors and lawyers. Yeah, I don't know. Joe Rogan's an idiot, though. So, AJ, your mindset is that we need more immigrants to keep the pensions going? I don't know who said that. Who said we need more immigrants? No. The whole argument for our replacement is we need to pay for our pensions and welfare and healthcare, which is primarily used by old people. So then we need to bring in these immigrants to pay for this because they're not having enough kids, right? Now, that's a bullshit argument, I know. But if we didn't have all this socialism, because this is what the pensions are and this is what the fucking healthcare is, and you know, the government, you know, doing all this crap, like if we didn't have this, then they'd have no argument whatsoever. They'd have no argument to replace us. But now your kids are in schools surrounded by fucking immigrants. Your grandkids are in kids in schools and they're outnumbered, right? And whose fault is that? Is it the 16, 18-year-old's fault who's never even fucking voted yet? I don't think so. I don't think so. Pensions going. Reminded those immigrants will need more immigrants and on and on. Yeah. Well, yeah, I know that too. I agree. Yes, it's going to keep going. Russian woman been asking for you, Jonathan. I have so much to say, but it's frustrating being limited to 200 letters. Rogan is Rogaine. The guy's not very bright. Does everybody know when the gay loony is coming out? Faith Goldie. No, I haven't. I don't know about that. Hey, Voltron, how's it going? This is where I diverge from extreme libertarianism. Seniors and vets who serve Canada and paid into the system should be taken care of. Well, I'm not. No. I say vets should get money. Of course, this is where there's a lot of fucking nuance in what I believe, right? Obviously, people who have fought for the government on fake pretenses, whatever, should be compensated, should be helped, should get money, right? I'm not a fucking cold, heartless fucking person. Like, what the hell? That's bullshit. Okay, so yeah, these people should get help, but pensioners, no. I'm sorry, the money doesn't exist. There's an $888 million unfunded liability. They only have 20% of it in there at once, right? That's all they have. They only have 20%. If everybody wanted to get their pensions all at once, the system would collapse. Stop the fucking systems. Stop getting your pensions and get a new system, right? It's only you guys that have the power to stop it now. I'm not getting a pension. I'm not going to get one. I'm fucking years away from that. The people that are close to it now are the ones that have a responsibility to give it up, right? If you can, give it up. Now, I know a lot of people made a lot of bad decisions, and now they're going to be stuck with it. And now they're too old to find jobs and work. And, you know, that's why we need to slowly scale back the system and stuff. But if you got enough money and stuff, and you got some other pensions to begin with, then you should be giving up your pension at the very least, right? Especially if you believe in libertarianism and believe in all of these things. Otherwise, you're just yapping and you're just saying things. You don't believe any of it. You don't believe any of it because you're still going and you're still, you know, getting this fucking system. You're still prolonging the system. And then you're still giving an argument for these fucking people to bring in immigrants, because what do they bring in? What's the argument? Pensions are an unfunded liability. They were introduced in the 1960. They were introduced 1965. Why do we still need them? They haven't been here since the creation of Canada. They were introduced in 1965. The government takes your money and like invests it, gives you like very little back. You could invest the money they take yourself and make 2, 3, 4 times the fucking amount, right? Why are people fighting for this? But it's like, well, I like my health care. You know, some people, they just pay lip service to fucking, you know, actually, you know, a small government, all that shit. Ugh. No, fuck you, Gordon, man. Fuck boomers. I'm serious, man. You guys are the most entitled generation to exist. And you know what? You give up your shit. You know, I paid into the system. I paid into the system. Well, you fucking paid into a stupid fucking system because you're a fucking idiot. And you didn't stand up fucking early enough because you didn't want to be called a racist. Now it's a lot fucking easier to have your life destroyed for saying simple fucking things that you could have said 10 fucking years ago. So now, oh, fucking millennials. It's like, no, fuck you guys. Oh my God. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't give a shit, man. Fucking these motherfuckers need to take responsibility for their actions. Stop blaming fucking kids that didn't even fucking vote. Like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, fuck that. Angers the fucking shit out of me, man. Go. No, fuck you, Gordon. Fuck you, you piece of shit. Yeah, no, leave my channel then. You're a fucking loser, man. Honestly. Like, see, like, you're just like a woman who can't fucking take it when you get told that, like, hey, you have responsibility too for taking care of the children. No, I don't. My husband left me. Well, it's like, hey, no, you should have fucking picked a better man. But no, but he left me, and oh, he was a bad man. Hey, there was a lot of red flags and signs before that, before you fucking decided to get in a relationship with that guy. Now, there were parties that proposed probably not introducing a pension. Parties propose introducing a pension. What did you choose? You chose the worst things. The worst things. Yeah, you know, it's like, fuck boomers. That's what I have to say, though. Fuck that shit. If you get offended, go fuck yourself. Fuck millennials, too. Do I get offended? Millennials are stupid. Millennials are entitled. Millennials do all this shit. Oh, like, fuck, man. You can't handle fucking criticisms. Like, this is the thing. This is probably a lot of conservatives, is they're just baby fucking pussies that are the exact same as the liberals who can't handle truth, who can't handle fucking truth. That's the problem. That's the thing. When I made that other video and I got all those boomers yelling at me, they're saying like they're telling me truth about Maxime Bernier or something. It's like, no, I'm telling you truth about you and your decisions that you made that led into fucking the scenarios that we're in right now. Oh, I had nothing to do with it. I made 88 cents an hour. And I made 88 cents an hour. And I worked hard and I bought a home with that. Yeah, when homes are a lot different. Did you know have you ever heard of fucking inflation or anything like that? Like, Jesus fucking Christ. You know, I don't know what to say. They're unreachable. And they're one of the reasons why we're going to be replaced. You're one of the reasons, and you need to take responsibility for that. If you're going to act like, no, and lots of older people say to me like, hey, yeah, you know what? That was fucked. And, you know, I worked not to do that. And I was for what, that's what I'm saying. It's not all boomers. When you talk about women, when you talk about like how single mothers or this or that, they all get offended. They all get shit. But like a lot of them understand, or like, no, I know what you're talking about. I'm a single mother and it was wrong and all this crap and I shouldn't have done it. All this crap. They can own up to their mistakes, but not old people, not some old people, not all old people. Hashtag not all. Hashtag not all. And yes, you know what? Some people are brainwashed. Lots of people are brainwashed. We're brainwashed. They were probably brainwashed to some extent, but much less than it was before. Well, I think that people who paid into it deserve it. I've been paying into a pension fund too, but hey, I've been working since I was 13 fucking years old as well. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like I've never paid into anything either, but I'm willing to give up that shit too. Let's give it up. Let's give it up right now. Why wait? Oh, okay, let's give up socialism after I get my pension. Let's give up socialism after. Well, I got to go at about 5:30, so I can't have it too long of a discussion. I was just going to talk about Maxim thing, but like got into this other fucking discussion, but no, like I think that yes, a lot of people paid into it. I don't want my dad to lose his pension. I don't want other people to lose their pension. I don't want that to happen. I don't want people to suffer like that. But where are we heading? Where are we heading in Canada? Where is the country heading? Are we going to be replaced or not? Are we going to be replaced? How are we going to avoid this? Do you guys like socialism? Do you guys like socialism? Like I said, why not just stop the pensions entirely? Why keep this system going? I don't understand. That's what I'm saying. One's right. We're fucked. That's why we're fucked. You know, this is why we're fucked. I'm being completely honest. This is why we are fucked. This is why I'm going to be replaced. This is why all your grandkids and your kids are going to school and they're minorities in their fucking classes right now. Is it their fault? No. Is it only the government's fault? No. The government doesn't work unless people legitimize it, unless people give it consent to it. You know, you have the numbers. You know what I mean? Like but no, people decided to go along with it. And that's a harsh reality. That's a really harsh reality for people to face, that we all voted into a system and we all went along with the system that is going to replace us, that is going to ruin our economy at the end of the day. That's a tough pill to swallow, right? It's fucking tough. I would have a hard time swallowing it too, but it needs to be fucking swallowed. Jesus Christ. Like, what's, like, just do it. I don't know everything, man. I don't know everything. Who says I know everything? It's just basic common sense. Who was around when I didn't exist? I was a fucking wasn't even a thought. My mom wasn't even around. Wasn't even a thought when all of these things started happening. Right? Of course, yes, that's what I'm saying. I have the benefit of hindsight, but it's not even actually that, because I think people are really copping out when they say that, because they act like nobody knew what socialism was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Oh, we didn't know what socialism was, but we'll get free healthcare. But we'll let the government do this. But we'll let the government do this. Oh, we didn't know. So no, people knew about socialism. There was a huge Red Scare or whatever. There was a fucking Cold War going on for how many years? People, they knew about it. I don't think people can really say that, like, well, I didn't know that the government taking our kids and putting them in schools. No, there's people back in the day warning everybody, saying, hey, no, I don't want people putting my kids in government schools and all these things. Or like, no, there's people, no, we shouldn't have the government pension fund. No, we shouldn't do this. That's not like people were completely unaware. So I'm saying, why is it so hard for people to take an ounce of blame? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm responsible for some things too, right? Yeah, I've been voting for years, for a couple of years now too. I have responsibility for my actions. I feel responsible for some of the way that the country has gone as well, and I can take some blame for that. Why can't other people, especially if you've been around for longer, you can come up with excuses, but I don't know, man. See, so we have zero. So AJ Illicits and other, at least I presume you guys have zero experience of what socialism is. Talk to someone from an actual socialist country. Yeah, my girlfriend was from Cuba, an actual socialist country. She lived in Cuba. I know people from socialist countries, but and the thing is, if you guys know so well and so much about socialism, why the fuck did you vote for it? Why the fuck did people vote for socialism if they knew so much about it? Right? What the hell is going on? It doesn't make any sense. Like, what? So, I don't know. I don't get it. No, we kind of didn't, and the immigration thing was sold to us the opposite of what turned into. Yeah, well, I'm not saying that it's all your fault, and not everybody was knew everything and all this crap, but come on, guys. So whose fault is it? It's just nobody, not one civilian's fault that bad shit took place. Not one civilian, not one person, not one of the people. So, like, none of the Germans are responsible for taking part in what Hitler wanted to do. They were just told to do it, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I agree. Yeah, there's not everybody knew things, and people were sold lies, but that doesn't excuse the socialism, right? That doesn't excuse all the socialism before that. Doesn't excuse that. Maybe the immigration I can see, but now they use the socialism as a fucking argument to bring in all of these people, right? And that's going to replace your kids, my kids, your grandparents, children, everybody else. No, okay, I'm not saying it's all the baby boomers' fault, but who has more blame? People that have been around longer or people who have been around for shorter amounts of time? Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Free healthcare pensions were introduced in like 1965, right? Right at the end of the boomer era. So I'm not like, when around they were born or something. So yeah, like people before them as well, honestly. So I'm saying, like, it's people that are older have more responsibility for the way Canada is. Like, that's just obvious, basic common sense. Like, I'm not saying everybody is exactly equally to blame, but if cuts are to be made, if we are to reduce the size of government gradually, who should we start with first? Where should we start with first? Yeah, obviously the immigrants and the refugees and whatnot. But then what's next? Then what's next? Because you don't want to cut everything right away. That would be pretty cruel, right? If you think I'm cruel, you're the cruel one. If you want to continue a system that is eventually going to collapse and make everybody's life a lot worse, I'm not the cruel one. Like, really, I'm not the cruel one. It's the people that want to further a system that is not sustainable, that is going to crash. Like, America has what, $21 trillion debt? A $21 trillion debt. Is that the millennials' fault? Is that their fault? Yeah, it's the government going and doing wars and stuff. But didn't you guys like vote for these parties? There were libertarian parties. There were small government parties. Nobody voted for those because you're going to split the vote. You're going to split the vote. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, you're going to let these guys win. Can't cut government AJ's political suicide. Look at Ford's small ass cuts and protests. Yeah, I know, right? It's you know what, the one, it's pretty much the way it's looking right now. It's just going to all come crashing down, and because nobody wants to make cuts. Nobody wants to make cuts. And, that's unfortunate. And then we're all going to be blaming each other and all that crap, when in reality, the people that have been around longest should obviously take more of a cut. And I'm not saying veterans and shit. I'm not saying veterans should take cuts and shit. People who are like no limbs because they bought it. They went into fought wars and stuff for the government and stuff, but because they were idiots, half the time. So if you go to war, if you go join the military voluntarily at this point, like, I don't know. It's not a good idea, in my opinion. It's not, well, when they came for the boomers, I'm not saying kill boomers. I'm just saying stop welfare gradually, stop socialism gradually. That's it. But I paid into the system. Yeah, well, you also, yeah, exactly. You paid in and contributed to the system that is replacing your people. So we're being replaced, guys. We're being replaced. Why is that? Oh my God. Okay, Gator, then go do your businesses. Oh, I did this, I did that, whatever. Now you voted for the government that is extremely repressive, has many more regulations than we did in the past, that has all your shit. We're gonna be paying for your pensions. But that's what I'm saying. If anybody that I'd vote for again in office, the first thing I'd say would be like, cut the pensions. Yeah, well, honestly, Gator, man, you're just one of the reasons why Canada is going to be replaced, man. Honestly, like, you gotta understand that, and you gotta come to terms with that. And when we get replaced, you should realize that you are heavily responsible for that. That you should feel really bad about that, more so than me. I know. You couldn't. I wouldn't campaign. I know exactly. You couldn't campaign on pensions, but it should go. And they should be the first ones standing up, saying, "Hey, we know how bad socialism is. Apparently, so we should stop it." But no, no, no. But I paid into the system, and I need my due. I want my due from it. Blah blah blah. Yeah, well, you furthered a system that is now fucking us all. So good for you, Gator. Thank you. Well, yeah, I know you guys don't want to cut your pensions because you want us to be replaced. So whatever. Do you own or rent? Oh, by your age, I owned 3 things. Blah, 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 blah. Oh my God. So I don't feel that bad about replacing you because I had 3 businesses and now I'm day trading and watching your videos online all fucking day and commenting and sucking your dick like just fucking 2 days ago. You like Jesus Christ, please give me a wrench. And then you're like, yeah, I've seen you do that on a couple other channels too. You're like, give me a wrench. I think you have like some power trip. You go to like different channels so you can get your wrench and like power trip on old people. So you can be like, ooh, bow, bow, bow. Fine. Income tax. Fine. Let's agree. Let's remove income tax too then. All right. Let's remove income tax. Okay. And then we'll start with other stuff. I agree. Okay, fine. We'll remove income tax. I'm just saying, I think old people should take some responsibility and just at least say like, yeah, guys, we fucked you over. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking is for people to say, take a little bit of responsibility to say that, you know what, guys, we had a chance to turn things around and we fucked up. I'm sorry. And I'm going to work to change things now with you because I don't want you guys to be replaced. So that's all I'm asking for, really. Then we can work on how we're going to disassemble the government. But it's if we're going to have to make cuts, I don't think it's fair, right, to go for younger people or something first, even though you paid into the system because you know what, you paid into a faulty system. We'll do a chat, man, on a Hangouts, man. We can talk about that. And see, you're not getting too triggered, and but I can see how I'm going about it the wrong way, but I think that people honestly need to hear some truth now and again, and that is also important. And I don't think that I'm saying anything that is wrong. I don't think I'm saying anything that is wrong. No, I don't collect EI. I work all year round. In wintertime. So, but we should make cuts progressively. Okay, guys. Okay. Lots of people had it good. Okay. People have it good. I have computers now. You didn't have computers growing up. We have other things or whatever, but whatever, obviously it's not going to go anywhere when it comes to trying to talk to certain people about trying to cut certain things. I was just saying, like, people are just unwilling. Once you give something to somebody, they don't want you to take it away. This is why Obama was really smart when he introduced his health care and shit, because he just gave it to a lot of people. And now they're like, but I like my health care now they don't want to get rid of it. So you know what I mean? It's once it's given, it's hard to take it away. And yes, we pay into our pensions. I understand how it works. Yeah, Jamie, you gotta have it. You gotta understand, like, the boomers. You guys, you grew up in a place that was much more homogenous. That was not like it is today. Not at all. Do you think your kids are doing good in school, surrounded by a bunch of like different minority kids that are all tribalistic and are going to group up and pick on that white kid now because he's the minority in school now? Do you think those kids have it easy? These little fucking white kids that are being picked on and attacked and all that shit. It does happen. I know. Like it does happen. I'm not. We're talking about who has it easy. Some people are complaining. They're like, "Oh, I don't have it easy." Blah 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 blah. Who cares? Who cares? You don't have it easy. A lot of people don't have it fucking easy. But once again, we're just gonna come crumbling down because people like, you know, they don't want to give up things that the government gives them or that the government, you know, is in control of. Like I said, it's an unfunded liability. You think you paid into it, but it doesn't exist. It's an $888 million unfunded liability. So, and it's growing. It's only growing, especially after Trudeau just increased the CPPC, whatever pensions. He just increased it for you guys, right? So you're going to get even more money. And now people are going to pay even more money. And now it's going to be even a bigger unfunded liability, right? So, you know, what are we going to do? It's just going to come crumbling down, I guess. Yeah, a lot of people want Canada to stay the way it is. No, Trudeau is not a boomer. No, that doesn't. No, man. Dude. Gator, you're a faggot, man. Get off my channel, man. Just go take some Viagra and fucking go fuck your wife or something, man. You're pissing me off with your stupid fucking bullshit. Go take some Viagra and have a heart attack, okay? Because you're annoying the shit out of me. But yeah, no, go suck somebody else's dick so they give you a you know, a wrench. Because I guarantee you, I'll see you have on another channel. You'll probably have a fucking wrench or some shit. But yeah, you know, like I don't care. Like I want to purge people who don't have, who are like liberals essentially, who have like you know, very thin skins. Like anybody who has a thin skin, I want them to leave my channel because, you know, you can't take shit and then you're like, oh, but I fucking made $2 and I trudged through 6 feet of snow when I went to school and 6 feet back when I went to school, and you don't know what hard work is and blah blah blah. I did nothing wrong in my life. Yada 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 yada. You know, yes, okay, yeah, you're all great. You did nothing wrong. You're just, you know, you were just you know, easily manipulated, I guess. So that speaks volumes, I suppose. Either that's a good thing, I suppose. Trudeau, yeah, Trudeau. Who was he raised by? Wasn't he raised by a boomer? I don't know. But I'm just saying it's older people that are more responsible for younger generation. And look how triggered people get. Older people are more responsible for their actions. What? Are you kidding me? What? Fuck you. You're a piece of shit. You know, when you see like a little kid and he has a temper tantrum and he's like on the floor and he's crying and he's like, and then you see the mom come and give that kid a cookie and he's like, oh, don't stop crying, son. And then the kids, who's more to blame? Is it that little crying kid or is it the mother who's giving the cookie to the kid to be like, oh, stop crying, stop crying? Who's more responsible? It's obviously the mother, and it's like a drug addict or something. You become a drug addict because, I don't know, somebody hooks you on drugs when you were younger, and it's their fault, right, initially. But the older you get, the more responsibility falls on you. Okay, 1 second here. Who the fuck? Oh wait, I want you to do a lot of overtime to fund my pension. I know, right? Yeah, I'll do some overtime for you. They almost look identical. Just add the beard. Can I give you a cookie? Would that make you feel better? No, give me your pensions. Give me your pension. How about that? That'll make me feel better. I want your pension. That's what I want. That's exactly what I want. But honestly, you see how triggered people get when you just say older people are more responsible? Oh no, I was a stupid retard back then. I didn't know I was a retard. I didn't know anything. It's like, okay, well, all right, that's not a lot better, okay? It's people that are older. That's what I'm saying. It's people that are older have more responsibility. Boomer police is here. All millennials must submit all their income for boomers or else in jail. Yeah, right. That's what it's pretty much gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen. You're gonna be replaced to fund the old. That's the argument. If we want to stop being replaced, stop socialism. Who is a boomer? Pierre? Yeah, Pierre Trudeau. Right. Yeah, Pierre Trudeau. He was a boomer. He fucked up Canada pretty hard. I think a lot of people would agree. And he was the most popular fucking prime minister. He's a prime minister for how many years? And people are mad at us for potentially splitting the vote now. It's funny. Yeah, exactly. Let's get rid of socialism. But are we going to do it like that? Like really quickly? Would that be sustainable? Would that be stable to just cut all of it right away? Like cut all welfare, cut all things? I don't know. I don't know if that would be sustainable. So I think you'd have to do it slowly, little by little, right? Honestly, guys, I do have to go right now. I was supposed to call somebody right around 5:30. So, hey, the struggle is real. Sorry, maybe I'll come back in an hour or so. I'll retitle this to Arguing with Boomers. Jokes, okay? I'm not using the boomer term either as like a derogatory term. If I call you a boomer, and maybe the way I say it, okay? I'm not using it as derogatory term, all right? Fucking millennials, I don't use that as derogatory term. And look, millennials are fucking stupid. Millennials are retarded. Millennials do a lot of stupid shit. Millennials are voting for Trudeau. Millennials are doing all these horrible things. I completely agree with you. I don't know as much about Gen X and shit, but yeah, Gen X done a lot of stupid shit too. I've done a lot of stupid things as well. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't. It's not a derogatory term, but all I'm saying is that we need to get rid of socialism. We all agree on that, okay? So maybe I came across it wrong. We all agree. Let's get rid of socialism. But then the hard part comes to having a discussion and talking about how we're going to do this. What income tax Fredrick brought up. Okay, there's something, right? Let's go for income tax first because that's a bullshit. Stopping to fund foreign governments or foreign aid. There's another thing. Stopping, restructuring welfare right away because you don't want to cut it off immediately. gradually bringing that down, making it more of a work thing, right? But they're about, what was the funding? It's about 6 to 8, like 9% of the GDP funding every year is pensions. And like I said, it's unfunded liabilities, right? So it's actually, if they're actually paying the pensions, you would have to times that by 5. So it would actually be closer to 50% of our GDP spending right now in just pensions, right? If we actually had the money on hand at all times, which we don't right now, plus welfare, plus healthcare and all these other things that cost a lot of money in our GDP spending. There's a couple other things which healthcare takes up like 15% or something like that. There's all these other transfer payment costs that take up 5-6%. There's plenty of things we can cut, but I think there needs to be a talk about some things like pensions and stuff though too. I don't know, because they're unions probably. Yeah, see you later, Wayne. Zero guilt. It's white guilt. The Ontario Teacher Pension Fund makes really good investments. Right. Well, there are some good investments. And the thing is, if you can voluntarily go into a fund, except the way a lot of it works is the government, the only place that has their own pension fund is Quebec, that has their own separate pension fund. The rest of Canada is under the same thing. Then you can have your own separate one for work on top of that, right? But like, we don't need a government run pension thing, right? It would be better if we all got to keep our own money and got to invest in our own pensions that we chose, so then they could invest it for us and make more money than we make, because the government right now does make investments with our pensions too. But do you really trust the government making investments with $220 million and like all this shit like every year? No, I don't trust them making that much. You'd rather have micro transaction or investments, smaller, not all just in one thing. You don't want to have all your eggs in one basket, because if that's the case, if it all breaks, then you're all fucked. And that's what we're heading towards. So that's kind of like, a lot of people, they're going to lose their pensions whether they like it or not, because when the government collapses, when there's no money left, then the pensions are just going to get a lot smaller until they're just like non-existent for people, because there's not going to be money in the coffers, and we can't run on debt forever. Eventually we're going to have to pay for this fucking debt. Eventually that we're going to have to do this. Yeah, there's lots of things we could do. Foreign nationals, lots of foreign things that we could cut and stuff as well, right? But I still think boomers, and I think that old people have more to blame and more responsibility for why Canada is the way it is, because they're obviously voting longer and had more of a say the whole fucking time. So I don't see why that's such a hard thing. Why that's just like a controversial thing to say, right? It's like single mothers have responsibility in choosing a good man, so that guy doesn't run out on them. And that also triggers women. But it's like, they do have a responsibility. If you choose a guy and he's got a face tattoo and it's got a neck tattoo, and he's like, he cheats on you a bunch, and you decide to get in a relationship with that person, and then that's on you as well. No, the debt was already out of control. Like you don't listen, Gator, because you're old and you need hearing aids, and unfunded liabilities. Free healthcare existed before Trudeau came into power. All this socialism was around. We didn't have some free market libertarian government before Trudeau came around. So I don't know what you're fucking talking about. We were already in massive amounts of debt. Governments allow unfair competition with tax breaks and loopholes. Man, you've been belittling me the whole time, man. If you weren't like ha ha ha, you're speaking in all caps the whole time, like yelling at me. So like, what the fuck are you talking about? Right, you know that, and the first people that set up the government, they're the most responsible. They're the most responsible. People before that were even more responsible, or whatever, you know, like. Yeah, you know, call me like a little fella and like this and that. You know, I'm just saying, like, you're demeaning me, and like I don't like being demeaned and talked down to either. I don't care how fucking old you are. You know, oh well, when you'll learn, you'll learn. Yeah, Molinier is right. You know, he's right about that shit, man. You know, thin black people are perfect. And I'm like, she lived. Is this better? Yeah, that's better. But I honestly do have to go because I did have to make contact. I was just gonna have a short one here, but I ended up arguing. Oh wait, I don't have the wrong thing up. Here, let me bring up. God damn it. I'm gonna move this. Okay, guys. That was fun. I'm gonna rename this arguing with boomers live. Oh man, that was actually funny as fuck though, honestly. Yeah, I did get a little pissed off there, but you know, fuck you, Gator. Fuck you to hell, you piece of shit. That's all I have to say. Peace.